Howdy, Luke at Nowhere Special, your resident Texan, and today we're trying some Texas whiskey. We're going to do the Devil's River line. Devil's River is named after the Devil's River in Texas. If you guys don't know anything about the landscape of Texas, it's pretty similar to hell. And the Devil's River is supposedly been rated as the cleanest river in Texas, and it goes underground for a little bit, and there's a whole bunch of limestone, and that filters the water, and then comes out into a spring. And all whiskeys are generally cut, like out of Kentucky, they're cut with limestone water. So they're using Texas limestone water and this stuff. I think it's pretty cool. Typically, Texas whiskey is aged shorter because of the heat down there. They only age them for about 2 years. They don't have an age statement on there, but I'm just going off the assumption because that's what everybody does down there. Don't mind Dante. So let's give it a sniff. So this guy it's got a really nice aroma to it. I almost want to say it's like you almost can smell that spring water in it. It's pretty light in certain aspects. It's kind of like light and heavy at the same time. It's really, I guess crisp would be the way for it. Let me try and find some notes. I got a little secret: if you sniff too much whiskey, sniff your elbow, and then sniff your whiskey. So this guy, you get a lot of corn in it. I mean, this is a mostly corn whiskey. You get some oak. There's like a hint of sweetness, and then just that divine, like, crisp, like, spring water smell. Let's give it a taste. Starts out really sweet and mellow, and then it moves into kind of this, kind of turns into a corn bomb. I mean, you got to think that Texas whiskeys are aged for a short period of time, so you're gonna get like a lot of explosion of flavor compared to like an aged Kentucky whiskey. I have found that Texas whiskey is really good on the rocks, and I mean, like a lot of ice, it makes it really, really nice. I really like Devil's River. This is what my barber in Houston always gives me whenever I show up to his place. I've done a lot of shots of Devil's River. It's kind of like molassesy corn. You get some oak in there, which is again typical because of the heat and the aging. You get a little bit of sweetness, and it's almost like a tangy, citrusy, kind of almost like a meringue in the back of your tongue. Let's move on to rye. All right, moving on to Devil's River Rye. I am expecting this to be fruitier and a little hotter, especially coming out of a rye coming out of Texas. I'm expecting it to be a lot hotter. On the nose, it's pretty light. There's some caramel. You kind of get that springish, zesty smell with it, and there's something else. I don't remember. It's kind of molassesy. Oh wow! So it kind of starts out as like very, very mellow, kind of like raisiny dried fruit taste, and then you get kind of this like spicy little explosion. It's really smooth. I'm surprised. I thought it would have been hotter. Sweet. Kind of going into the molasses, fruits, and then you get the oak at the end. It's really simple. This guy would be a lot of fun in some rye cocktails, and even as a sipper. I was expecting that to be, knowing Texas stuff, I was expecting that to be a lot different. It's pretty good. I gotta say, I haven't tried too many ryes that are truly from Texas. Most of things that have Texas labels on them are sourced. And a lot of ryes in general are sourced, so it's pretty amazing that a company is doing their own rye, and it's a really nice rye. I think y'all will enjoy it, y'all. All right, now time to drink some cowboy whiskey. We're moving on to Devil's River's Barrel Proof. So what Barrel Proof is: barrel proof, cask strength, proof whiskey, whatever they call it. There's 100 different names for it. All whiskeys, like you buy a bottle of Jim Beam or whatever, and it comes out as 80 proof. It came out 115, 117-ish from the barrel. they cut it down with water down to 80 proof, so when you get like a barrel proof whiskey, it's just an uncut whiskey. There's no water added to it after it comes out of the barrel, so you get really strong, bold flavors. You get a lot of flavor, like Wild Turkey Rare Breed, which used to be god awful, and it's gotten a lot better over the days as barrel proof. Booker's is one of the big name brand guys, and a lot of people are releasing them. Woodford just did one for their yearly release. Elijah Craig's been doing one. There's a whole bunch out there. And I really enjoy cast strength stuff. They're a lot of fun. I will say that even Devil's River on their website says this isn't for everybody, but the beautiful thing about a cast strength whiskey is if it's too strong for you, you can always cut it down with water or ice down to that level where you like it. It's fun to play with, like the levels of dilution with those. You get a lot greater variation between it. So I do know this is a high rye. It's a high rye barrel proof one. And honestly, it smells a lot like the rye. It's a lot mellower than I expected for a casker. There's a lot of vanilla in this guy, but really and truly, it smells a lot like the rye. Pretty simple. Let's give it a taste. That's for a barrel strength, that's pretty smooth. Like with barrel strengths, and this one is no exception, it's almost like, to me anyways, it's almost like you kind of put cinnamon in your mouth. Not like you're doing the cinnamon challenge or anything, but it's got like a lot of baking spice. Like, it's like very, very forward. It's almost like eating my mother's pound cake. So for 117, it's really not as hot as I expected. And you get kind of like the same notes as the bourbon. They're a little more accentuated, and then you get like a lot of baking spice in these. I'm gonna try a barrel proof the way I like it. Put it on the rocks. Wow, that really mellows it out and actually made it a little hotter. It was almost like eating a piece of cake. There's just so many levels of spices and sweetness in that, and it's not over the top or anything, but it's actually really refreshing for a 117 proof whiskey. I could sit on the porch and drink that. I wouldn't be there for very long though. Enjoy, folks.